Electrical telegraph. An electrical telegraph was a point-to-point text messaging system used from 1840s until the late 20th century. It was slowly replaced by other telecommunication systems. At the sending station, switches connected the source of current to the telegraph wires. At the receiving station, the current activated electromagnets with move indicators providing either a visual or audible indication of the text. It was the first electrical telecommunication system and the most widely used of a number of early messaging systems called telegraphs that were devised to communicate text messaging more rapidly than by physical transportation. Prior to the electric telegraph, semaphore systems were used, including beacons, smoke signals, flag semaphore, and optical telegraphs for visual signal to communicate over distance of land. Electrical telegraphy can be considered to the first example of electrical engineering and was used by the emerging railway campaigns to develop train control systems that minimized the changes of trains colliding with each other. This was built around the signaling block system with signal boxes along the line communicating with their neighboring boxes by telegraph, sounding of single-stroke bells and three-position needle telegraph instruments. Text telegraphy consisted of two or more geographically separated stations, often called telegraph offices, connected by wires, usually supported overhead on utility poles. Originally called telegraph poles, there were many different electrical telegraph systems invented. The ones that became widespread into two broad categories. The first category consists of needle telegraphs, in which a needle pointer is made to move electromagnetically with an electrical current from a battery or dynamo passing down the telegraph line. Early systems used multiple needs requiring multiple wires. The first commercial system and the most widely used needle telegraph was the Coke and Wheatstone telegraph, invented in 1837. Early equipment sets used 5 needles to point to the letter being transmitted, but the cost of installing wire was more economically significant than the cost of training operators of a single needle system. The second category consists of amateur system in which the current activates a telegraph sounder which makes a click. The archetype of this category was the Morse system, invented by Samuel Morse in 1838, using a single wire. At the sending station, an operator would tap on a switch called a telegraph key. Spelling our text messages is Morse code. Originally, the armature was intended to make marks on paper tape, but operators learned to interpret the clicks and it was more insufficient to write down the message directly. In 1865, the Morse system became the standard for international communication with a modified code developed of German railways. However, some countries continued to use established national system internally for some afterwards. In the 1840s, the electrical telegraph superseded optical telegraph system except in France, becoming the standard by way to send urgent messages. By the latter of half of the century, most developed nations had created commercial telegraph networks with local telegraph offices in most cities and towns, allowing the public to send messages called telegrams addressed to any person in the country for a fee. Beginning in 1854, submarine telegraph cables allowed for the first rapid communication between continents. Electrical telegraph networks permitted people and commerce to transmit messages across both continents and the ocean almost instantly, with widespread social and economic impacts. In the early 20th century, the telegraph was slowly replaced by teletype networks.
Television is the one of the most important thing because it is the source of information, especially now today's era. Television or TV is an electronic delivery of moving image and sounds from a source to receiver.
By extending the sense of vision and hearing beyond the limits by physical distance, television has a considerable influence on a society.
Television is created by science and technology because science is the study of the natural world collecting data through a systematic process called scientific method. And technology is where apply science to create device and can solve problem and do task. Technology is literally application of a science.
John Lugobird was a Scottish inventor, electrical engineer, and innovator who demonstrated the world's first live working television system. On January 26, 1926, he went to invent the first public demonstrated color television system and the first viable purely electronic color television picture tube. In 1928, the Bird Television Development Company achieved the first transatlantic television transmission. John Lugobird early technological success and his role in the particular introduction of a broadcast television for home entertainment place in television history. Television is a source of information of a communication and media plays a very significant role in everyone's life. In today, modern society, media has become a very big part of our life. It's a duty to inform, educate, and entertain. TV like a bridge between the governing bodies of a general public.
Good morning. I introduce myself, Maria Teresa Morello, DIBCOM Section B. My topic is YouTube by Steve Chen, Chad Harley, and Jude Karen, 2005. YouTube. YouTube is American online video sharing and social media platform owned by Google. It was launched on February 14, 2005. Steve Shane, Chad Harley, and Jude Karen. It is the second most visited website, right after Google itself. YouTube has more than 1 billion monthly users, who collectively watch more than 1 billion hours of video each day. As of May 2019, videos were being uploaded at a rate of more than 500 hours of content per minute. In October 2006, YouTube was bought by Google from $1.65 billion. Google ownership of YouTube has also changed its business model. It no longer generates revenue from advertisement alone. YouTube now offers paid content such as movies and exclusive content. YouTube has approved creators participate in Google's and Sends program, which generate most revenue for both parties. It has since evolved from a small video streaming platform to a large service and reported revenues $19.8 billion in 2020. Since its purchase by Google, YouTube has expanded beyond the website into mobile apps, network television, and the ability to link it others service. Video categories on YouTube include music, videos, video clips, news, short films, features, films, documentaries, audio recordings, movie trailers, trailers, live stream, blog, and more. Most content is generated by individuals. This includes collaboration between YouTuber and corporate sponsors. Since 2015, established corporations such as Disney, Viacom, CBS, and Warner Media have created and expanded their corporate YouTube channel to advertise to a larger audience. YouTube has had an unprecedented social impact, influencing popular culture, internet trends, and creating multimillionaire celebrities despite all its growth and success. YouTube has been widely criticized. Criticism and YouTube includes the website being used to facilitate the spread and misinformation, copyright issue, routine violation of its user privacy, enabling censorship and endangering child safety and well-being.
On March 7, 1876, a 29-year-old Alexander Graham Bell reserves a patent for his revolutionary new invention, which is the telephone. Bell wanted to improve on this by creating a harmonic telegraph, a device that combined aspects of the telegraph and record player to allow individuals to speak to each other from a distance. Let's come to the history of the telephone and communication with business. Can you hear me now? That line, "Can you hear me now?" became Verizon's catchphrase for the next 9 years. It was an interesting marketing strategy. Many cell phone providers fight it out with pricing, but Verizon chose to talk about signal quality. The telephone is one invention that changed the world and opened a wide world of communication. Many businesses benefited from the additional communication options that became available after the invention of the telephone. As communication continues to evolve, business continue to benefit from the additional communication channels that are open to make completing business transactions and connecting with customers easier. Understanding the history of the telephone in business can give you a greater appreciation for the invention of the telephone and what it means for us today. Ring my bell. Back when telephones had actual bells, if you asked someone to ring my bell, it meant to give that person a call. The telephone was invented in the 1870s. Alexander Graham Bell was the first person to register the invention of the telephone at the patent office. His competitor Elisha Gray registered a similar patent just a few hours after he did. The telephone came about because they were trying to improve the capabilities of the telegraph. After the telephone was invented, wealthy individuals and large corporations primarily use it as a means of communications between specific locations. This means that the corporation or individual would run the wires themselves between locations. These were called direct lines. Telephone exchanges were set up to centralize the telephone network within a smaller geographic area. This system allowed other individual lines to be connected with each other through a central station. These were the forerunners of switchboards, and individuals would need to manually connect the wires to each other through the switchboard. Most of the early users of phones were businesses. Many phones would go to a doctor's office, police station, or to a bank. Individuals could subscribe to the switchboard for a monthly fee that give them access to the telephone network. Let's move on to the from messengers to voicemail.
Telephones made it easier for businesses to communicate with each other. It cut down on the amount of time it took to send messages to each other. As the telephone network grew, it also expanded the area that a business could reach. Businesses began to use telephones to connect offices with each other and to build a stronger network of customers. The telephone revolutionized the way that people communicated with each other. Many businesses benefited from the advancements in communication. As telephones have continued to evolve from landlines and switchboards to cell phones and cell towers, the use of telephone has shaped the way that businesses connect to individuals. Telemarketers came about as a way to reach customers in their own homes. These companies could connect customers to learn about marketing needs and to conduct surveys or to sell products directly to customers. It also made it easier to reach a wider available audience and made it easier for potential customers to contact the business to ask questions.
Hi, my name is Abigail Balanan, and my report was smartphone. So, a smartphone is a computing platform portable device that combines mobile, telephone, and computing function into one unit. The development of the smartphone was enabled by several key technological advances. The exponential scaling and miniaturization of MOSFET or MOS transistor down to sub-micron levels during the 1990s and 20s. As predicted by Moore's law, made it possible to build portable smart devices such as smartphone, as well as enabling the transition from analog to faster digital wireless mobile network. So, we all know what is a smartphone is, and it is conducting messages, call, games, video camera, or gaming, and etc. It is important in our daily life in this new era. We all know what is smartphone is, and I know that all of us know what is the feature of smartphone. So, it is important in our daily life because it helps us on our online classes and etc. And many more feature can be used by smartphone. So, yeah.
Typewriter. Typewriter is used for procedures, letters on paper. When the user strikes a key, which in turn forces a steel type to hit a ribbon and transfer ink from the ribbon to the paper. Typewriters were regularly used from the late 18th until the late 19th when computer gained in popularity. Information as a science deals with the study and information processes and methods for their automation based on software and hardware of computer and communication technology. Historically, computer has studied scientific information and methods of its structuring, systematization, storage, and distribution. The advanced technology has made it possible to automate some of these operations. One of the most important advances in the field of typewriters and office machines was the development of automatic controls that allowed typing from remote electrical signals rather than from manual control.
This technique enabled office machine manufacturers to develop an integrated system of business communication, utilizing remote control, typewriters, and computer techniques.
Radio is useful in 20s and 90s, where people can easily contribute information in the news without having television. Suddenly, to this generation, most people are now using television where they can also gather information in news and watch different programs that they can see where people are acting and showing some of different stories that can inspire people. Radio is sound communication by radio waves, usually through the transmission of music, news, and other types of program from a single broadcast station to a multitude of individual listeners equipped with a radio receiver. Radio broadcasts provide real-time information, and some that broadcast 24 hours a day can provide the most recent updates to the listener. Radio has the ability to reach across border and can become a valuable source of information where reliable news. The word radio became popularized in the early 20th century with the development of different radio-based technologies. The word itself originates from the Latin radius, meaning ray or beam. Guglielmo Marconi is an Italian inventor proved the feasibility of radio communication. He sent and received his first radio signal in Italy in 1895. By 1899, he flashed the first wireless signal across the English Channel, and 2 years later received the letter S telegraph from England to Newfoundland. This was the first successful transatlantic radiotelegraph message in 1902.
Hi, my name is Helen de la Cruz Soyo, first year college section B in development communication. Presenting journalism is one of our main in the field of development communication. The review journalism as one of less technological mechanism, and this is all about. Reviews journalism are partly fact-based. The review needs to accomplish two things. 1. Accurately describe or identify the subject being reviewed. And 2. Provide an intelligent and informed opinion of the subject based on research and experience.
Twitter's heightened connectivity and the level of interaction of it offers allows users to communicate amongst one another at rates never before conceived and has fundamentally changed how people converse. Online Twitter's more prevalent contribution to the online discourse are the hashtag and retweet. The beauty of Twitter is that not only can you directly contact individuals who have freely provided their contact information, your ideas and communication can also be read by everyone following you if you want them to. If not, you can send private message. It's like email, so it means a lot of people are exposed. Even Clark Williams is an American billionaire technology entrepreneur who is the co-founder of several technology companies, including Twitter. Williams was previously chairman and CEO of Twitter. He also founded Blogger and Medium, two of the largest internet platforms of their kind. Christopher Isaac Bestone, born March 10, 1974, is an American entrepreneur who is co-founder of Twitter. Among other technology companies, Stone was the creative director of Sangha from 1999 to 2001. Stone co-founded Jelly with Ben Finkel. Jelly was launched in 2014 and was a search engine driven by visual imagery and acquisition by Pinterest in 2017. On May 16, 2017, Mrs. Stone announced he was returning to Twitter INC.
Good day, everyone. This is John Mark Milabo, BS Development Communication, Section B, student of the University of Eastern Philippines. So, as a content of this video, I just wanted you to discuss a timeline highlighting the major discoveries and developments in science and technology and explain how its discovery and development changed the game of the communication sector. Radio telegraphy or wireless telegraphy was first means of radio communication. The first practical radio transmitter and receivers invented in 1894 to 1895 by Guglielmo Marconi used radio telegraphy. It continued to be the only type of radio transmission during the first few decades of radio called the wireless telegraphy era, up until World War I, when the development of amplitude modulation, radio telephony allowed sound to be transmitted by radio. Beginning about 1908, powerful transoceanic radio telegraphy stations transmitted commercial telegram traffic between countries at rates up to 200 words per minute. Radio telegraphy was used for a long-distance person-to-person commercial, diplomatic, and military text communication throughout the first half of the 20th century. It became a strategically important capability during the two world wars, since a nation without long-distance radio telegraph station could be isolated from the rest of the world by an enemy cutting its submarine telegraph cables. Radio telegraphy remains popular in amateur radio. It also thought by the military for use in emergency communications. However, commercial radiotelegraphy is obsolete. Guglielmo Marconi was an Italian inventor and electrical engineer. He was born on 25th of April 1874 in Bologna and became a pioneer in the field of long-distance radio transmission and a key developer of radiotelegraphy. Marconi initially began experimenting with radio waves when he was 20 years old, with the hope of creating a form of wireless telegraphy. By 1895, he had succeeded in transmitting a signal just over a mile, but the Italian Ministry of Post and Telegraph was not interested in funding further research. It later transpired that the letter he sent explaining his wireless telegraph machine had been dismissed as madness. The head of the ministry apparently scrawled to the Longara on the document referring to an oscillum in
Telephone by Alexander Graham Bell, 1876. Telephone is one invention that changed the world. Telephone enables people to communicate with others and all over the world and is widely credited as being invented by Alexander Graham Bell. Alternatively, referred to as a phone, a telephone is a device that converts analog audio into electrical signals that can be transferred to other telephone users. Many businesses benefited from the additional communication options that became available after the invention of the telephone. And even in our daily lives, we can't deny that telephone has a big role in our life. This pandemic, almost of us use telephones or mobile phones to connect and to communicate.
Tumblr is a free social media networking website that allows registered users to post multimedia contents to their own customizable blogs, given its simple, concise nature. The microblogging platform is praised for its simplicity in aesthetic, management, and content posting. Many Tumblr blogs feature humor, fashion, design, and arts. Each Tumblr blog is referred as Tumblog. Tumblr was founded by American web developer and entrepreneur David Karp in February 2007. Although Tumblr is a social media networking site that allows you effortless marketing, it is also a blogging platform similar to WordPress with benefits. It is easy to use and give instant access to a huge audience. Tumblr really do change the game in communication. given that it makes blogging and marketing more convenient and efficient, and by using Tumblr can improve your SEO as it is indexed within search engines. Since a lot of people share on Tumblr, you have the power to attract plenty of traffic your way. Also, Tumblr offers a microblog. A tool allows quick and easy sharing of your posts. You can post tons of different stuff on Tumblr in addition to blogs such as videos, links, and images. Tumblrs allow you to track your site, progress, and analytic tools.
What is a satellite? NASA, or the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, has more than a dozen Earth science satellites in orbit. They help NASA study the oceans, land, and atmosphere. The word satellite refers to a machine that is launched into a space and moves around Earth or another body in space. Other satellites are used mainly for communications, such as beaming, TV signals, and phone calls around the world. Satellites also can see into space better than telescopes and Earth's surface. Before satellites, TV signals didn't go very far. TV signals only travel in straight lines. With satellites, TV signals and phone calls are sent upward to a satellite. What was the first satellite in space? Sputnik 1 was the first satellite in space. The Soviet Union launched it in 1957. The first satellite picture of Earth came from NASA's Explorer 6 in 1959. Teros 1 followed in 1960 with the first TV picture of Earth from space. The first satellite to relay voice signals was launched by the U.S. government's Project SCORE signal communication by orbiting relay equipment from Cape Canaveral on December 19, 1958. The Soviet Union continued its development of satellite technology with the Molniya series of satellites. The first satellite in this series, Molniya 1, was launched on April 23, 1965. By 1967, 6 Molniya satellites provided coverage throughout the Soviet Union. There are 3 types of communication services that satellites provide: telecommunications, broadcasting, and data communications. Telecommunication services include telephone calls and services provided to telephone companies, as well as wireless mobile and cellular network provided. Broadcasting services include radio and television delivered directly to the consumer and mobile broadcasting services. Data communications involve the transfer of data from one point to another.
Hello, good day. It's Kika Gorpesa here from BS DivCom first year section B. So since we're talking about the major discoveries and development of science and technology, I'm going to highlight the thing transistor. So, what is transistor? Transistor is a semiconductor device used to amplify or switch electrical signals and power. It is one of the basic major blocks of modern electronics. It is used to control the flow of electricity in electronic equipment. Transistor was the first device designed to act as both a transmitter, converting sound waves into electronic waves, and resistor, a controlling electronic current. Transistor was invented by the 3 scientists at Bell Telephone Laboratories in Murray Hill, New Jersey. These scientists are John Bardeen, William Shockley, Walter Brittain. So,
Transistor is an influential little invention that changed the course of history in a big ways for computers and all electronics. It transformed the world of electronics and had a huge impact on computer design. By replacing bulky and unreliable vacuum tubes with transistors, the same function using less power and space.
the inventors themselves believed that the transistor might be used in some special instruments and possible in military radio equipment. Yet the transistor is fundamental for all modern technology, it including telecommunications, data communication, aviation and audio and video recording equipment.
And that's it.
Tablet computer that is intermediate in size between a laptop computer and a smartphone. Early tablet computers used either a keyboard or a stylus to input information, but these methods were subsequently replaced by touch screens. Tablets can be used to browse the internet, check email, download and read books, organize content, and much more. Most tablets are touch operated and are between the size of a smartphone and a laptop.